I could probably stand up here and give you some good introductions on them both, but it wouldn't be nearly as good as what they're actually going to tell you, so I'm not even going to bother. But yeah, I just want to thank you guys very much for being here and, supporting this ministry and supporting Amanda and Zach in the things that they're doing. And I just also want to make sure I thank our sponsors who have gone a long way in helping us put this on tonight. That would be Sun Valley Tire, Canadian Tire, Ideal Floors, Fairway Feeds, GTP Accountants, Crocus Realty, and the Winkler Auto Dealers. So yeah, just remember those guys when you're thinking about this evening and how they help put this all on. So what we're going to do is Amanda is going to come up first. She's going to share her story with you guys. And then when she's done, we're going to have some cheese and crackers and some fruit and stuff like that on the back. So feel free to get up, help yourselves to some of that stuff, mingle around a little bit. If you want to speak with Amanda or speak with Zach or pick up some of their books or whatever it is you want to do, you'll have some time then to do that. And then after about a 10-15 minute break, I'll come back up, bring you guys back down to attention, get you back to your seats, and then Zach will come up and he'll share his story with you guys. So that is how the evening's going to go. I will just open in a quick word of prayer, and then Amanda will come up, and it's all hers. Lord, thank you so very much for all these people that are here tonight. Thank you so much for the beautiful day that we had. Lord, I just pray that this evening you open up our hearts and our ears and our soul to hear what it is that you want to hear. Speak to us, Lord, through the words that Zach and Amanda will be presenting to us tonight. And Lord, I just pray that this whole evening be a blessing to your name and in your honor. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. All right, Amanda, you're up.
I'll take this over there.
Yes, that's your chair.
I know I have this. Okay. Brain damage. So, okay.
I'll put you on the X. There we go.
Hi, I'm Amanda, and yeah. So basically the first 21 years of my life went kind of like this. I learned God in a loving Christian family, and then in high school I turned my back on him by making gods of my body, drugs and alcohol, boys, and the list goes on. And then eventually I started showing up at church on Sundays and pretending everything was great. When nothing short of a match with thousands of pounds of metal would wake me up, that's exactly what my wake-up call was, an 80,000-pound potato truck. So I was just driving along one day, believing I was my own rock, and then just like that, I T-boned a semi at 100 kilometers an hour, and my SUV was flattened like a pancake. In a split second, my inner brokenness spread to my whole body in the form of collapsed lungs, a broken neck, brain trauma, and complete oblivion. After an hour and a half of crews extracting me from my Durango, I was airlifted to the Health Sciences Center, where the war room would begin. And that's where I was. After a few weeks of a coma and flirting with death, I eventually became conscious again, but I was just a vegetable. Unresponsive to anyone or anything, I was moved to a rehab hospital, where I would hopefully learn to think, talk, walk, and eat, and live again. But who knew how far it would go? I couldn't even talk. The first month and a half of that whole thing are mostly a black hole in my mind, but the last month of being at rehab is a blurry picture in my mind of complete dependence. I don't remember my first words or first steps, but I do remember what it felt like to actually truly believe that I was in hell. There are no words for the pain or the humiliation, because I was 21, in diapers, learning to make my broken neck support the weight of my head, eat solid food, and walking, or learning how to walk. And my fiance was changing my diapers when I was 21. It was great. But I don't remember that, so it's all good. I couldn't remember my life or anybody. It was like I wasn't even a real person, just a shadow of someone who people told me once existed. But even when I felt and knew nothing, I guess I could feel the heat of God's love, because my pastor told me that after I'd been out of a coma for about, maybe a week, I still hadn't said a single word to anyone, but he came and he was reading from the Bible to me for almost an hour, and then I spoke. I don't remember this because I had brain damage, but he said that I said, love Jesus, love Jesus, love Jesus, over and over again. Those were my first words. And that was when I started coming back to life. The fact that I recognized God before anyone else and could hear his word in my heart even when I knew nothing else, what else does that say but that God is there? God is our refuge and strength and ever-present help in trouble. I hear this verse over and over, but I never really gave it a lot of thought. But we have to understand this, though. God is ever-present. He's everywhere all the time. It didn't matter that I was so far away from where I should have been. In spite of me having turned my back on God and living in a way that was unacceptable to him, he was there. In rehab, I thought for sure that I was insane. It should have been an easy game for all the forces against me. I couldn't do anything for myself. I was so sure that nothing was real, and I was just floating between life and death in purgatory or something. And it was just crazy. But God put an army of angels on my side, like family and friends and my pastor. They did everything they could to hold me up as my body was trying to put itself back together. And every moment of every day, I had to decide to trust God. And every time I made that decision, an amazing peace surrounded me. It didn't matter that my body was writhing in pain all the time. When I chose to trust him and let him love me, peace was all around me. Given the extent of my injuries, my stint in rehab was actually pretty quick. I was remembering people again, walking, talking, potty trained, and alive after less than 3 months. I was discharged from rehab 2.5 months after the accident that should have killed me on the spot. It all comes down to this. I was a mess before, not faithful to the lover of my soul, and just drowning in myself. Rebellion against anything true and right and good was the decade of my life that walked me right up to the door of death. An eating disorder, drugs, alcohol, guys, running away. I could write another book about my entire teenage existence, which was the ignorance and stupidity that was mocking me with the coming doom I would find in rehab. Never once in my selfishness did it occur to me that at any given moment, my heart could stop. An overdose, a heart attack, a wrong relationship, a semi. When I breathe my last breath, I won't know it's my last breath until I wake up on the other side. I haven't got the slightest clue when I'm going to go. My final moment was this close. I was 21 years old, and the wrong side of eternity is probably what would have greeted me. Putting words to the turning point of my life, even years after it happened, hammered me with just as much impact as the experience itself. As I got further into writing, recalling the things that my traumatized mind managed to hold on to came with more baggage than I was ready for. My memoir couldn't have been written without the forgiveness that had to intercede halfway through. I had to accept the forgiveness of the people who had already forgiven me. I had to forgive other people, and had to forgive myself. Self-forgiveness was the thing that almost put the kibosh on the whole thing. But eventually it was the thing that helped me understand or voice the understanding that I took from the whole thing, which was pretty much dying and then living. So what I took from that is basically we have to decide to move. Stuff is going to happen, and it's just life. Life sucks, it's going to happen. But we have to decide to get past where we are, move past our circumstances, and just choose to forgive, choose to accept forgiveness, choose to move, choose to get out of addictions. Whatever it is, we have to decide that we're going to go, and then we have to go. And yeah, life on this earth is insane. Every minute, every hour, every day, each of us has to choose between an endless amount of rights and wrongs. We always have a choice, and there are countless different compromises to be made, except for one. There's one absolute truth that will direct the course of millions of endless years after we're done here. And that choice, which is Jesus, needs to be made now, before we get hit by a truck or something.
All right, and Zach will be showing some videos during his talking time. So for those of you who are sitting here right against the wall, if you can't see, feel comfortable in moving away from the wall or whatever it is. And other than that, I am very excited to be able to introduce to you guys someone who's become a very good friend of mine. And we've known each other live and in person for 24 hours now. But I feel like I've gotten to know him really well because I've watched almost all of his videos, and I've read his book.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Yeah, that's exactly what his mom said after she read his book. In case you haven't noticed or been introduced yet, that woman that's with Zach in the back there up in the sound booth is Zach's mother. So, Zach, it's on you now.
Oh, great.
Right on. All right. Zach Anner, everybody.
Hi. Thank you for the warm welcome, Winkler. This has been great. And for those of you that don't know, my name is Zach Anner. I'm a 31-year-old comedian and YouTuber. I'm an author of a memoir called If at Birth You Don't Succeed. I host travel shows. I hosted my own show on the Oprah Winfrey Network, and I'm a fitness guru. I host a show called Workout Wednesday, where I teach you guys how to have a body like this. I also have cerebral palsy. I have no college degree or high school diploma, and I can't open a bag of chips. So why am I up here talking to you? It's because I've learned through my life that life is about seizing your moments as well as seizing your mistakes. And I was on a reality show called Oprah's Search for the Next TV Star, where I was competing to win my own travel show. And I don't know if any of you are familiar with reality TV or what that's like. It's basically, they put you in a hotel for a month and they make you compete against 9 other people and you become like the animal version of yourself, or most people do. And I was competing on a reality show to win my own show. And I want to show you guys a clip of the second to last episode where we were all supposed to do a press junket, and the last person that we were supposed to be interviewed by was Oprah herself. And this is how that went for me.
Today is all about doing a press junket. And I get done with my 2 interviews, and they come in, and they say, there's one more interview.
Hey.
Hello.
Hello.
How are you?
Fancy meeting you here.
I was expecting you.
How are you doing?
Good. I'm great. How are you?
I'm really good.
In that moment, I'm not thinking about competition or strategy. I'm thinking Oprah Winfrey is sitting across from me, and how can I make the best of this amazing situation?
So, first of all, it's a grueling thing to do a show. What made you want to even take this on?
I thought it could really help a lot of people. You know, and I thought this is a way for me to give a voice to a population that really hasn't had one, I don't think.
What has been the most challenging for you, Zach?
I think my own sort of demons of figuring out, you know, that I'm worth this experience, because it's hard for me to kind of accept that I might deserve this.
Yeah, you know, this coming to terms with your own self-worth is a lifelong journey.
Yeah.
So, how old were you when you figured out that you were different than the other kids?
I knew that I had a wheelchair, obviously.
Yeah.
They didn't shield that from me. But other than that, it was just my life. And then I learned, you know, if I make a joke about this, then it puts people at ease.
Yeah. What do you think is the biggest misconception about people with disabilities?
That they are helpless and that their personalities are defined by their disabilities. You know, because I am so many things before I am a person in a wheelchair. Get to know the person, the chair is incidental.
I love that. Bravo.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thanks for your time.
Oh, thank you. I have so many questions for you.
Okay.
What has been the moment where you felt the most pressure to be Oprah?
Well, I think the most pressure to be Oprah is actually in creating this network. And that's a beautiful question, I have to tell you, because I think the world expects this network to immediately be what the Oprah show has been. And it has taken me 25 years to create the Oprah show.
It is a lot of pressure, too. It's years of work.
Yes.
If you weren't Oprah Winfrey, the brand, the person that everybody knows, what would be the first thing you'd want people to know about yourself?
Also an excellent question. At my heart, I am a teacher. And that's really the purpose of this network, is to be able to use it as a tool for teaching and inspiring and giving people back to themselves so that people can see the best of themselves.
That's incredible. Thank you so much for answering my questions.
Thank you for this interview. It's been great, really
Thank you
great.
so much.
Thank you so much,
Really
Zach,
appreciate
really.
it. I thought, if I can interview Oprah and feel comfortable, maybe this is something I should be doing with my life for sure.
Zach, how did the press junket go for you?
I was a little nervous at Entertainment Tonight, but by the time we got to Oprah, I was golden. It was just a really awesome day.
Zach did something, guys, that no one else did, and I was very surprised because the interview had wrapped up.
Right.
But Zach said, I have some questions for you, Oprah.
I just thought, this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. I should probably seize the moment.
Yeah, and you did.
How did it go? Did it go well?
It went really well. You know, I think she has a career in television.
If I seem comfortable in that interview, it's because I was. And I realized, when I was sitting across from possibly the most powerful woman in the world, that our experiences had brought us together, and that I had as much to offer her as she had to offer me. And that each person that you're talking to has something to teach you. And after the interview had wrapped up, I wished her well with her new network, and I said, good luck. And she said, thank you, you too, but I don't believe in luck. I believe that life prepares you for seizing your moment. And my life is as much about seizing my mistakes as it is about seizing my moments, and starting with my first mistake, which was being born 2 months early. And I say this in my book, but I was a really, really crappy baby, guys. I'm not even joking, like premature, underprepared for this life, didn't know what I was going to do. But the thing that I always had was a sense of humor. And my parents instilled that in me. And I didn't realize until much, much later that humor was as much a tool to build a bridge to empathy and to talk about important issues that people weren't necessarily ready to talk about. When I was going through grade school, I was the first person in my elementary school to be mainstreamed and put into classes with all the other kids and not put into special ed. And everything was a learning experience. And it was because my parents were fierce advocates for me that I was able to find friends based on common interest rather than common ailments or conditions or disabilities. And, so instead of them focusing on therapies and finding me other kids that had cerebral palsy, I was finding other kids that wanted to make silly skits and videos. And I excelled in school, and I wrote plays about vampires who loved Twinkies, and I believe that became the basis for Twilight, and I'm still waiting for residuals on that. But everything was great for me until high school, when I got an undiagnosed stomach ailment, and I was home from school every day and became antisocial, and I was hovered over a toilet for most of the day. I don't want to go into it, guys, but instead of graduating high school, I got hooked up with an organization called Catholic Charities, and I got my GED, which is a general education high school equivalency degree, because that experience taught me, if the beaten path is, if it feels like you're just beating your head against a brick wall, then maybe you should just go around it, because it's much better. I feel like it's much better to chase a dream than run from a nightmare. And so after I got my GED, I went to the University of Texas at Austin. And how I did that was my mom said, if you apply and get in, if you can apply yourself by actually applying to school, and you get in, we'll find a way to make it work. So I moved thousands of miles away from home. I grew up in Buffalo, New York. And I moved from the frozen tundra of Buffalo, which is why I feel at home in Winkler, I think. And moved all the way to Texas, and didn't know a living soul, but I knew that I would be okay because I knew that I could connect with people. And the first thing I did was I went to the student television station, and I signed up to be a volunteer. And within a week, I had people that wanted to make a show with me, because I just went into that meeting and I made a few dirty jokes, and I just won over the crowd. I won't repeat them here because we're in a ministry. But I want to show you, you saw the Oprah interview that I did, but I want to show you the first celebrity interview I ever did, which is with Dennis Quaid. He was in my dorm for some reason, and this is how...
I'm also part of a comedy program called That's Awesome, and being in a wheelchair, I don't get a lot of acting opportunities, right? And I was wondering if you would like to play a game I call British middle-aged couple in crisis.
All right, go ahead.
Okay.
Are you going to be the daddy or the mummy?
Okay. Well, what would you like to be? Because you can choose a sex.
I always like to be the mum.
You'd like to be the mom. So I'm going to come home, and you bought a bunch of new furniture. And it's like, what have you done with our money? Dear, what's all this new couch?
Well, we needed a new settee, dear.
Dear, we can't be wasting money like this. We've got 2 children in university. What are you pissing away our money for?
Well, we have to keep up appearances, love.
We can't keep up appearances with you drinking all the time.
Well, I have a lot of pressure on me.
A lot of pressure
this
from
is
whom?
my way of relaxing.
From whom? It's that gardener,
do
isn't
I
it?
ever complain about anything that you do, ever?
Oh my God, I can't believe I'm married to you. Why don't you just go drown yourself in vodka?
Why don't you go yourself then?
I recognize there that I had a pretty singular ability to ask people questions and get away with things that would get most people punched in the face. But in that, I also recognize that being in this chair, which for most of my life I considered to be a burden, was also its own tool, and it had its own uses, and I could disarm people because they didn't know what to expect when they first looked at me. And I did that sketch comedy show for a couple of years, and I sort of gained the reputation of being an insult comic, the guy who could be so brash and bold and say things that I will not repeat here. But I ended up not feeling so great about myself because I wasn't putting any good energy into the world. And I remember having a conversation with my friend Chris, and I said, you know, what we're doing is selfish, and comedy without compassion and meaning, it doesn't make any sense to me. Why are we just trying to get a rise out of people when we could be doing something more? And it took a couple of years, but we ended up making some shows that I was really, really proud of. And eventually I went from this rude little kid who made all sorts of obscene comments to somebody who could be on the Oprah network. And that opportunity came in 2010 when my mom called me up and said, you know, Oprah Winfrey is launching this new network, and she's having a competition to give away a show, and anybody can pitch their idea for a show. And I knew right away what the idea for a show that I had was. It was a travel show for people who never thought they could travel. And we had gotten this idea years earlier when I had gone to Rome, Italy with my father. And we struggled to get on the Roman trains and break down my 250-pound electric wheelchair so that I could get to the next town. And then we went to Pompeii, and then we realized very quickly that a town that was covered in volcanic ash was not very wheelchair accessible. And we thought, oh, this would make a great show. And so I had the idea in my head, but still, there were thousands and thousands of entries, and people were putting these videos online, and I thought, nobody will ever see this. And I almost didn't do it because I thought it was such a long shot. But I'll show you the video that I made, and then I'll tell you what happened.
Hey, America! My name is Zach. I'm from Austin, Texas. I think we met at Janine's party once and really hit it off, but I think we should get to know each other a little bit better. And I heard Oprah was giving away a show to somebody that really, really wanted it and had something to say. And I've got a lot to say, but I didn't know exactly where I would fit because I have something called cerebral palsy, which I believe is the sexiest of the palsies, but it does sort of limit where my strengths are. I tried the cooking show, and normally when I cook, I set my pants on fire, and this didn't go any better. The next thing we're going to learn how to cook is takeout. The health and well-being, the yoga was interesting.
This isn't yoga, I'm just putting on pants. America doesn't want to see this.
Fashion, I felt I was really good at. You know, like I could do a lot of that, but I don't know how the rest of the world would feel. I decided that what I really want to do is make a travel show for people who never thought they could travel and inspire people to go on an adventure, you know? Because I feel like so many travel shows are about how to plan the perfect vacation, you know. Oh, go to the perfect restaurants. Oh, hey, Bono, how's it going? I didn't expect to see you here. But
My travel show would be about how to have the perfect vacation when things don't go as planned at all. Oh no, all our stuff was stolen. Oh, we've got to figure out a way to climb up the mountain, and this would be something to prove to people that no obstacle is too big, no mountain is too high, no volcano is too hot, and no Atlantis is too underwater or fictional. We're just going to go on the craziest adventures we can, and whatever we encounter, we're going to have a great time. Because my mom always said, when life gives you a wheelchair, make lemonade. I don't know what she meant, but I'm going to take her advice. And so if you're ready, America, let's go on an adventure together. All right, I'm ready. Perfect. Let's go. Yeah, so I ended up winning that travel show, and it was a beautiful experience, and the internet had rallied around to win me this show, and then it aired on the Oprah Winfrey Network and was immediately canceled. No, it was fine because if life has taught me anything, it's that life is filled with incredible opportunities, and then sometimes you have to take the opportunities that life gives you and run with them. And you don't know how long those opportunities will last, but if you continue to follow along the path of what you're passionate about, then it becomes much easier to figure out what's next. And as soon as my show was canceled, I knew what the next move would be, what the next stop along the path was. Because there's a community online called Reddit that is basically, they call themselves the front page of the internet, and they had sort of discovered my audition video, and it had been my most fervent supporters throughout the whole process. And when we went to actually make the show on the OWN network, I wanted to involve them in some way. And that isn't really allowed. You can't just give the power of your network show over to the internet. But when it was canceled, I talked to Alexis Ohanian, who is the co-founder of Reddit, and he said, what kind of show do you want to make next? And I said, I want to make a travel show where the internet calls all the shots. And they send us where they want me to go, and we do a travel show that's me and my friends, and it's about friendship and community, and no matter what the world throws at us, we're just going to make it work. And that was the premise of Riding Shotgun. We traveled 5,000 miles over 6 weeks and went to 8 major cities and stopped everywhere along the way. And I was everywhere from the fanciest restaurants in New Orleans to on stage at the seediest strip clubs in Montreal. Well, it was closed. They just wanted me to get on stage and do something. And when the internet asks you to pole dance, you have to say yes. One of the experiences we had was in a city called Blacksburg in Virginia. And I want to show you guys this entire clip because it was the essence of why I wanted to make a travel show and what I wanted to say about disability and friendship all in one video.
It's Riding Shotgun!
Today's episode is going to be a little bit different. We're going to Blacksburg, and Reddit told us that we needed to go to this place called the Cascades, which is great, except that the Cascades is a waterfall deep in the wilderness. And I technically shouldn't be able to go there, but we're going to try because Reddit told us to. And you're not going to hear a lot from me or see me a lot.
I just kind of want to let this experience speak for itself, because what happens here is exactly why I wanted to do a travel show in the first place. So I hope you guys enjoy it.
So we're going to a waterfall in or around Blacksburg, and it's about a 2-mile hike, and I called the people and they said that it is not wheelchair friendly in any way. So my solution is to carry Zach on an army stretcher for 2 miles. So just any of the ones out front?
I feel like this is one of those ideas where if it works, it'll be a great example of ingenuity and how awesome my friends are. And if it doesn't work, it will be a great example of just the negligence and horrible ideas we have.
The night before a big trek like this, you need food that's gonna give you energy. And nothing says nourishment like a slice of pizza as big as your face.
There is supposedly between a 70% and 100% chance of rain today. Right when we would be going back up the trail.
So if we abandon you, you're going to be completely soaking for at least 48 hours.
Please at least leave the little camera with me so that I can film it and it can be found.
And that's great, it'll be 60 frames a second so we can put it in slow motion and play it at your funeral too. Like you'll just be like crying in slow motion.
My last words will be cursing you, Aaron.
Taking Zach on the stretcher is going to be an easy job. We're going to have a fun time swimming. No one's going to get hurt. And then we're going to come back here and just relax.
So we headed to Jefferson National Forest for what was sure to be the most relaxing 2-mile hike through treacherous wilderness we'd ever experienced.
It's the least handicap accessible place, mainly because it's a waterfall in the woods. So I'm gonna pretend to be an injured serviceman. Oh jeez.
That's not so bad.
Are we sure that it won't that the chair won't go? Because if it's like this the whole way.
Don't think it is.
Oh Jesus, that's scary.
Good. Baby steps down the hill.
Baby steps.
Big steps.
And as we soldiered on, the forest started to play tricks on us.
Are you calling me?
I don't think so.
He's got a voicemail from Brett Anner. Have we walked into a time paradox and he's trying to send messages back telling us not to go?
But I lost service, so I can't listen to it, so. Sorry, future Brad. Appreciate the warning.
How we doing? Okay, pretty rocky.
To be honest, I'm a little nervous. Never seen anything like this before. I've never been in the wilderness like this. I've never seen water rushing like this, and it's really incredible. It's because I have friends like these two that this is even possible. Now, they could still kill me by accident, but I'm really grateful that I would have friends that would even try.
Zach, we're gonna have to leave you.
All right, I thought that was coming.
Yeah.
Even though it was difficult, the views were beautiful, and we knew it couldn't get any tougher than this, until it did.
How? It's big.
It was on a rock. It is a good rip, though. Pretty good rip.
It's really good rip, and we've got to go back.
Just have to hope that it keeps going.
Oh, jeez. It just ripped again.
Well,
This is...
we're so f***ing close. How far can you go piggyback? All right. You on?
Yep.
All right, I'm good. Onward. Here we go.
So we left the stretcher for dead, and the only way I was gonna make it to the Cascades now was if I went full Yoda.
Oh, hell, this is a hell of a lot easier. Yeah.
things were really starting to take their toll on the guys. But at least we were close.
We've only gone 1 mile.
With the rain coming, I'm not sure we can get there and get back before the rain.
Sure we can. We don't even know if the rain's coming. When you're surrounded by a bunch of trees like this, one of the trees is going to get the lightning and not you.
It might fall on another tree, and then it becomes a domino effect where all the trees in the forest fall down on you.
I'm not sure your assessment or Brad's assessment are entirely accurate.
We'd come so far, but had so much further to go, and were completely exhausted. And we started to wonder, should we really be doing this? It seemed like we might never get there. Like we'd have to eat Josh and use the food he brought for shelter or something. But then, we saw it. The f***ing Cascades! Yeah!
I've never gotten to do anything like this before, and there's probably a good reason for that. I wouldn't recommend anyone else with a physical disability try it unless you have equally crazy friends that will help you. Well, thanks, Aaron. Thank you, Aaron. See, I'm trying to be genuine, and he's turning it into just a regular Dick Aaron thing. He's exhausted for 2 seconds, then he turns it right back on. No, you're conscious of the fact that you are making a memory and living one of the greatest experiences of your life. One of those days. And if we don't die on the way back, then that's even better. It's f***ing cold in there too. It is f***ing cold.
Fill it all walk.
Just toss me.
Sorry. You gotta hold on tight. Let's turn back. Let's turn back.
I left something at the waterfall.
All the way up. All the way, go all the way to the parking lot.
Open the f***ing car. Get in there. Yes! Yeah! Thank you!
We lost the stretcher. Brad got stung by a wasp. I lost my Brad t-shirt. Zach lost a pinky toenail. But we won. And that's what's important.
Riding shotgun, we made 42 episodes of that. And it's still one of the things that I'm most proud of. And after that, I had gotten to say what I had been longing to say about disability and friendship for a long time. And it finally painted me in a light that I was comfortable with. It wasn't overtly inspirational, but what was inspiring about it was the power of friendship and the things that friendship can make possible. And it wasn't my friends showing me the world, it was us showing the world to each other and having a great time. Just 4 dudes on the road. And after I made Riding Shotgun, I was thinking, okay, I've just gotten done with this thing that I've been really wanting to say for a long time. And how can I use my voice to give other people who feel disenfranchised the chance to say what they want to say? And I was thinking, what is something that people have as many misconceptions about as disability? And then I came up with the idea of doing a show about religion, because whenever I turned on the TV and people were talking about religion, it was usually as a way to divide groups and say, oh, this group is right or this group is wrong, and we disagree with this group because they believe this. And I was contacted by Rainn Wilson's media company, Soul Pancake, and their idea is to ask life's big questions. And I pitched them this show called Have a Little Faith, which was not trying to explain one religion or another in an episode, but take one person's spiritual journey and talk about what their faith means to them, and try and do away with some of the divisiveness that is usually present in interfaith dialogue, and take all the judgment out of talking about different religions. So I want to show you guys the trailer for Have a Little Faith, which kind of encapsulates why I wanted to make the show in the first place. Are you religious at all?
I was raised half Jewish and half nothing.
I was raised Catholic. I am at the age of reasoning and questioning right now.
So we're going to try and catch these little kids and ask them about faith.
I have a 12-year yoga practice, which is where my spirituality comes from.
Is there any yoga thing we can do right here, right now?
Did that feel good?
It was definitely louder than I expected. Let's play some word association. Breakfast.
Yes.
Denim. Catholic Church.
Early morning push-ups.
How do you feel about the Catholic Church?
I feel like the new Pope is a great step in the right direction.
Do you follow the Pope on Twitter?
No, I don't follow him. He doesn't follow back, so I'm not going to.
How do you feel about atheists?
They have nobody to talk to when they're having sex.
What do you think the most common misconceptions about atheists?
People will think, oh, you're an atheist because you think you know it all, and you know you're not, to keep an open mind.
If you were to ask an atheist one question, what would it be?
How are you doing?
What made you come to the conclusion that there was no God? Did Justin Bieber have anything to do with it?
Justin Bieber had everything to do with me becoming an atheist.
I thought so. How do you guys feel about religion?
Bye.
Bye. We're gonna get them. If you could learn about one religion, what would it be?
I think I would want to learn a little bit more about Buddhism.
Do you know a lot about Buddhism?
No, actually, and I lived for years in a Buddhist temple, and I have absolutely no idea.
No, what do you know about Hinduism?
I know it's not God.
What is it? I don't like they believe in a lot of gods with a lot of arms.
But I know it's like some other dude.
And all their gods are having sex. That sounds rude now that it comes out of my mouth, but I think Hindus believe in a lot of sex gods.
What is the Hindu afterlife like?
I don't know. Do they believe in an afterlife?
I think they believe in reincarnation, dude.
How do you not know this stuff? You're the host of the show.
I'm just learning. I'm just learning.
Can we get a host that knows his stuff?
Come back! I have important questions about life to ask you, you adorable children. Do you know what a Wiccan is?
I think I used to date one. I kept asking her what it was like to be a witch, and she never really told me.
Is it possible that she just wasn't one and you were just assuming things? A Muslim, a Jew, a Mormon, a Baptist, a Baha'i, and a Quaker all sit down in a room. What's the first thing you think they talk about?
God.
Can I ask you a question? What's God like?
God made the world
God made the world, and I feel like we're getting somewhere. If there was a show on the internet for free that explored different faiths and was awesome, would you watch it?
Yeah.
Because guess what? There is one.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you're on it now.
Watch have a little faith on Soul Pancake.
That kid knows what he's talking about.
Soul Pancake, subscribe.
Yeah, so that show ran for 2 seasons, and I talked to people that were Muslims, I talked to Mormons, I talked to people of the Baha'i faith, I talked to Catholics, Quakers, and what I found was not only a deeper appreciation for spirituality and faith, but I also met people that I now consider friends in each of these faiths, and I wouldn't have had any means to talk to them otherwise. I mean, I didn't expect to be talking about Breaking Bad with Mormons, but and going to dinner and at a Hasidic Jewish man's house and giving his children wheelchair rides. I mean, on the Shabbos too, they're not allowed to touch technology, and I'm all technology. So, so that really taught me that in each of our differences, there are more similarities. And I think particularly with what's going on in my country right now, there are people that want to divide us up and say there's too much different about us to find any common ground. But I know from my experience of having a disability and often having people say, oh, this person is so different from me because they look physically different and I don't know how to approach this person. The best way of how to approach someone that is different than you is to say hello and go from there. That's part of the reason why I decided to write a book, because I realized as I was writing it that sometimes the seeds of what have the deepest meaning in our lives are sown way before we have the knowledge and the perspective to understand them. And those gifts and those seeds are planted, and we just have to be ready to receive them. And what I'm gonna read you guys a short excerpt from a chapter called Game Changer, which is about my adaptive PE teacher in 4th grade. And if I stutter or stammer while I'm reading this, it's not because I haven't read it before. It's just because these eyes are a little wonky. Like one's looking at you, one's looking at you, and one's looking over there. I have 3 apparently, I don't know. But, so this is Game Changer. In 4th grade, the list of things I couldn't do was about 1,000 times longer than the list of things I could. If I were to name just a few of my encyclopedic inabilities, they would include such impossible feats as making a sandwich, eating a sandwich without wearing a sandwich, and tying my shoes. Without a doubt, the most embarrassing of my ineptitudes could be summed up by the phrase, "Behind every great man, there is a great woman." In my case, that great woman was a personal aide holding me up at the urinal, making sure I didn't pee on myself. Occasionally, other boys would come into the bathroom ready to let loose, and instead found themselves being quizzed by a 45-year-old woman on whether or not they'd completed their math homework. I, however, always played it cool and said something like, "Hey man, what's up?" as I pulled down my sweatpants, exposing my bare ass to the breeze. This daily ritual seemed like a better excuse than any diagnosed medical ailment to excuse me from participating in athletic activities. Wouldn't it have made more sense for a doctor just to write that on a note? Zach is excused from gym class because he can only urinate with his pants down and a middle-aged lady behind him. P.S. He's also in a wheelchair. It was always my goal never to be pitied by anyone, and Mrs. Fata, my adaptive PE teacher, made sure of that. Though my athletic prowess was undeniably pitiful, the special rules she created in an attempt to level the playing field between me and my classmates caused me to be despised rather than pitied. In basketball, instead of a net, I was allowed to score by tossing the ball into a trash can, which is where I thought it belonged anyway. Typically, the rule in baseball is 3 strikes and you're out. But in my case, it was 3 strikes and let's give it 6 more tries. Eventually, Mrs. Fata would gently loft the ball onto my bat from 3 feet away. During football, if the quarterback had mistakenly thrown the ball at me while I was peacefully bird-watching, and the pigskin so much as brushed my front wheel, Mrs. Fata would blow her whistle, rush out onto the field, and hand me the ball. She would then proclaim, "It touched his wheelchair, that means he caught it." "Caught what?" I'd ask, noticing a blue jay. "The ball," she'd insist. And then play would continue as if it were in the realm of possibility for me to actually catch a ball. Unfortunately for the other team, though every accommodation had been made on my behalf, none was made on theirs. A reception by me meant that in order to be stopped, I would have to be tackled, a task that would require more brute strength than 5 60-pound fourth graders could muster, since I raced past them not on legs, but atop 200 pounds of electrified steel. This was a triumph for affirmative action that in no small way changed one fourth-grade class's perception of the disabled from meek and helpless invalids to entitled, cheating assholes. One day, after a brutally demoralizing hockey match, I couldn't take it anymore. In frustration, I shouted what everybody already knew. "This is ridiculous! I can't play!" And I threw the stick down and sat out for the rest of the game. Afterwards, Mrs. Fata came up to me and said, "What was that? Haven't you ever heard the expression, 'It's not whether you win or lose, it's how you play the game'?" "Well, that's not playing, that's cheating, and I still suck." "Why do I have to do something I have no chance of being good at?" I sulked. "Because if you quit, you'll never know if you could be good or not," she countered. The next week, when we switched from hockey to handball, I was all but optimistic. But as the game began and I prepared to be dishonored and disgraced, something unexpected happened. A ball was thrown to me, and I actually caught it. Not caught in the sense that it was thrown in my general direction and it touched my chair. I actually caught it. I'd like to think it was because Mrs. Fata's speech had struck a chord and awoken a competitive spirit in me, but it's more likely that it's because the ball itself was so big and squishy that a cucumber in a coma could have caught it. Whatever it was, from that moment on, that little bit of encouragement propelled me through the whole game to play harder than I'd ever played. With 2 minutes till lunch, we found ourselves in a tie game, and my friend Andrew tossed me the ball. "Oh my God, I caught it," I thought, dropping it. I heard a familiar piercing whistle and the rustle of windbreaker pants as Mrs. Fata came to meet me on the court. Damn it, I thought. I should have left after that first catch, just taken a bow and quit while I was ahead. But as she handed me the ball, she told me to do something. Take a shot. and I noticed that I was directly in front of the goal. I suddenly realized that all those castrating concessions she'd made throughout the year were because she wanted me to meet her halfway and make an effort. I cocked my arm and launched the ball forward with all the force and fury I could muster. I didn't see it go in. All I saw was the disgust on the goalie's face as he realized he'd been beaten by quite possibly the worst athlete to ever grace the 4th grade. I won't name him, that for fear upon learning this, his family would disown him and his wife would leave him. My team won the game, but for me it was a much bigger victory. I had won this day because I had chosen to play rather than giving in to my suckiness. And that's what Mrs. Fata was trying to drive home all along, that the only way to win is to first find any way to put yourself in the game. In the years since, I haven't gotten any better at sports, but I have gotten a lot better at trying them. On Rolling with Zach, I fell off surfboards, flew off water skis, and got yanked up mountains by my balls while rock climbing. When I was coming up with ideas for my YouTube channel, I found myself in the altogether unlikely role of personal trainer for a comedy, fitness, and sports show called Workout Wednesday. In that series, I'm still fundamentally the same person I was in the 4th grade, at least as far as my athletic abilities are concerned. I'm just outfitted with a better attitude now. So I've been able to encourage others and myself to be good sports at the sports they're not good at. I've swum, crawled on a treadmill, duct taped my feet to a stationary bike, and even ridden a mechanical bull. And in highlighting everything that made me feel like a failure when I was in elementary school, I've somehow managed to produce my most successful and widely appreciated work to date, and created entertaining content that helps my audience take people like me off the sidelines. I'm able to encourage others because someone taught me to appreciate the tiny victories a long time ago. Now I know why Mrs. Fata rewrote every rule in 4th grade gym class. It's because she understood that in order for me to succeed in life, I'd have to change the game entirely. Thanks, guys. And if you wonder where all that encouragement ended up, that's Workout Wednesday. And that's the show that I do on YouTube where every week or every Wednesday when I feel like it, I try a new athletic activity. And if you'll indulge me, I know a lot of you have seen this, but it's me running. This is my second Workout Wednesday that I did just to troll a troll on YouTube. Hi, I'm Zach Anner, and welcome to Workout Wednesdays, the workout show where I teach you how to have a kickin' bod like mine. Last week, we got some great feedback, and somebody named Dane wrote, "Hey, Zach, you should do a treadmill one." Well, I don't know if you noticed this about me, Dane, but I live in an apartment complex with a treadmill in it, so we're totally gonna do it. Here's what you need: workout shirt, workout pants, workout shoes, workout headband, workout beard, and a positive, forward-thinking attitude. Let's do this. So the first thing you want to do is get out of your wheelchair. Up the wheelchair and onto the treadmill safely like this. Some people need a little help to stand, but luckily I have these great legs that I can use. I don't understand why people need to walk fast when you can get to where you need to go when you're just walking at a nice pace for everyone. I can't believe my legs work. How does it stop? Okay, so this is obviously gonna take a little while to get a workout because that was too easy. We're gonna try it a different way because the walking, it was awesome, but just sometimes you gotta change it up. Oh geez, it's gonna be worse. What? I think my knees are
What? Okay, bye. We're gonna try walking again.
Okay, so we're feeling great. We're ready to move again. Okay, hold on. It's moving without it on. All right, so I'm ready to start walking once again, and we're gonna do this. Maybe I should just do it while it's off. Standing sometimes is difficult enough. Walk, don't run. What's the point of running if you don't know where you're going? Stop comparing yourself to Doug. Just because he's got a diamond car doesn't mean he's better than you. Doug sucks! You know, the world's moving too fast. Sometimes you just gotta stop and smell the roses, or the coffee, or the cookies, or other things that smell great. You should be proud of who you are in this very moment. What? Where's that? It's just because. All right, we're back on our feet. We're back on our feet. We're doing it again. Sometimes you gotta pull yourself up, because you know you can do it, even when you're sliding off the treadmill. Now we're going quickly. This is the most exercise my legs have ever gotten, and I've been here for 4 minutes. So what if you don't have a perfect body? You're a lot better than where you started as a baby who cramped himself all the time. You do that a lot less now, and I'm proud of you for it. Even if you're not exactly where you want to be, you're still making progress, and that's what's important. Moving forward. It's better to be walking in the right direction than running in the wrong one. You could end up at a Denny's when you want to be at an Olive Garden, and you owe it to yourself to find your own personal Olive Garden. Might even be a Denny's. I think I just broke my foot. It's okay. I don't need this foot. It's just the left foot. Well, that's Workout Wednesday for this week. Just remember, you're great just the way you are. Subscribe and upload your workout videos. And maybe I'll try and do your workout. Thanks for watching. Okay, well, that was a success. So guys, remember that whatever you're going through, no matter what the struggles are, no pain is meaningless, especially if you have a sense of humor about it. Because what I've learned is that even though you might feel like you're alone sometimes, there's always somebody else going through something. And the more open and honest you can be about it, the less alone you feel. And you can make a positive impact in other people's lives. And each and every one of you can do that. And I know that you probably already have, and there's snacks back there, so you probably want those. Thanks so much, guys. I really appreciate it. I could have timed that better so I had left by the time you stopped applauding.
We could do a long, slow clap for you if you like.
Just one guy. Just.
Awesome. Well, thank you, everybody, for coming out. Thank you very much, Amanda and Zach, for being here. I feel so very blessed and honored to have gotten to know both of you and to have read your stories, and now to actually have you guys here in person has just been so amazing for me.
Thank you, Kevin.
Thank you, Zach. And yeah, so that's it for the evening. I think Zach and Amanda will hang out for a little while longer, mostly because Zach can't go anywhere until I put him in the van and haul him away.
Yep.
So yeah, if you guys have maybe a couple more questions that you want to ask them more in private as opposed to like in a big setting where everybody's going to hear your question, feel free to ask them. They've still got a bunch of books in the back. I would encourage you to get their books and read through them. They've given you the tip of the iceberg of their lives and the things that they've gone through. And I hope it's enough to intrigue you and just get you thinking about your life and thinking about the things that you're going through and some of the stuff that you think is a big deal, and really in retrospection and stuff like that, it's maybe not such a big deal. So hopefully you guys have been inspired in some small way. I know both of them have really inspired my life in the last few months, just really getting to find out who they are, getting to hear their stories and hear their hearts. Hopefully that's done the same thing for you guys, and I'm hoping you all had a great evening. So thank you again for coming. Hope you guys have a safe drive home. Take care.